Thanks for tuning in to the 2017 version of the weekly football update on Oski News, sponsored by State Farm and InsureOski.com. I'm Wyndell Campbell, your good neighbor agent in Oskaloosa. This week we have Coach Jake Jenkins of the Oskaloosa Indians. We'll be previewing the 2017 season and all that's getting ready to come up for the Oskaloosa Indians. You're watching the weekly football update on Oski News.
For all your insurance and financial service needs, call your State Farm agent, Wyndell Campbell in Oskaloosa today.
And welcome back. I'm Wyndell Campbell here with Coach Jake Jenkins of the Oskaloosa Indians. Jake, thanks for being with us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Exciting as summer starts to wind down and football season gets ready to kick off. This is kind of the time of year I kind of wait for it. I know you get pretty geared up for this. So the Oskaloosa Indians, let's talk a little bit about 2016, how the season ended up, and then get into what 2017 is going to look like for the Oskaloosa Indians.
Well, last year we focused on finishing, every game, every play, and everything, and finishing a year. I thought we did well. We met a lot of our goals. We wanted to win the district. We ended up getting second, which was okay because we still made the playoffs. That was our ultimate goal. And then the last goal on the list with those seniors was make a run. And we drew the back-to-back state champs, and we made our little run. We had our chances in that game, but ultimately we lost in the first round. Very proud about the way it ended, especially with the 7 wins. And we're super excited to get back on the field this year.
7-3 in 2016 for the Oskaloosa Indians, a year of really a turnaround. Your first year on the sidelines as head coach, being able to wear the headset and make all the calls, and now getting geared up for your second season. I was able to pull up a little bit of information. 1,084 rushing yards on the year. These are off of Iowa Quick Stats. So 2,057 receiving yards for the Oskaloosa Indians, 34 touchdowns. 10 field goals, a total of 316 points. So you look at your schedule from last year, and really, you talked about a couple of defeats. The Pella Little Dutch, a tough draw for anybody as they won their third straight. The only other team right now, Dowling Catholic in 4A, won their third straight as well. So they're up against Harlan Community Schools as another one that Harlan with 7 total titles in that Class 3A. So quite a run for Coach McKinstry over
for
Pella.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And we'll get that a little bit later on because week 1 you guys draw Pella right back onto the schedule. So, but I do want to talk about losing a few of your key players from last year. Some of the ones that I came across: Bennett Spry, Ethan Arnold, Ethan Kelderman. Can you talk a little bit about some of those guys, where they're headed now? Because there are some that have some aspirations of college football and what they're doing now.
You bet. There are a couple. It's always tough to lose a good class. For me, it's the attachment there and those bonds that you build. It's such a special year, their senior year, and then when they're gone, they're gone. So I've been staying in touch. I've been texting those guys. I've been making phone calls and things like that because you really do miss them. Then you miss them on the field as well. The first couple of names, like you said, our quarterback. It's tough losing a quarterback. One that was so durable too. He ran the ball well. He's really like a fullback back there.
I was gonna say, not a traditional quarterback, because you probably look at him more of a fullback or even a middle linebacker position. When you look at the build of Ethan Arnold, but he filled that position very well.
He did, and he had a really good arm too. The baseball background and everything. So we're gonna miss him for sure. We have 2 quarterbacks coming up, in my mind, are potential All-State quarterbacks, with Cole Henry, the junior, and then the senior Seth Howard. So we're very excited about that. We have some tough decisions to make. We'll know more after the Centerville game, but right now they've been splitting time. They've just been splitting reps. Another guy, Bennett Spry, electric. The guy that makes your plays, the guy that you look to, he's got to make those big plays in those games. Against Pella, right off the bat, they threw an interception right to Bennett. Bennett went up, made a phenomenal catch, David versus Goliath type deal, and he goes up and does it. It was excellent. We're going to miss Bennett because he was that guy that was always making plays. Jack Moore, another 2-way guy, leader of the defense and phenomenal hands on offense. Those are some guys off the top of my head, but there's 20 of them that really are going to be missed a lot.
Absolutely. Anytime you lose a large senior class, and we'll talk a little bit. Let's talk about some numbers that you have coming into this year. I got the opportunity to hear you speak earlier in the month about the guys you have. Talk about some of the numbers you have coming in this year for Oskaloosa football.
For camp, we showed up right around 95, 96 guys. Now that's 9 through 12. So we have a big freshman group, which we're excited about, getting some things turned around there, having some success this year. As far as varsity, the last count that I had was right at 58. So that's where we're at. And we'll actually, with our travel numbers, we won't be able to travel all of them, unfortunately. But right around 58, 10 through 12. So I feel good about that.
Absolutely. So some of the other, you mentioned Cole Henry and Howard. Some of the other ones I put down here: Tanner DeCock, Jaden Van Rukel, Blake Van Veldhuizen. And lest we forget, I think the kicking game always gets kind of overshadowed. You had 10 field goals last year on the season, a 50-yard long for Aaron Blom. You're now sophomore kicker. So we've got some years. Every football coach I've ever talked to on any level says anytime you get the opportunity to take the points, take the points.
For sure.
High school football, very important in some of these games. So can you talk about some more of these younger guys that are stepping into those roles and how important they are for this year?
I would say, Blake coming back, it's I don't know, it's no secret. Blake is one of our guys on the line. He's kind of the staple of the offense and defensive line. So Blake's looking as big and as quick and as fast as he's ever looked. I mean, he's looking really good. He's getting some big looks around the country, and Iowa just called him yesterday and said we need to take you on an official. So that's a big deal. So having him out there is really going to help. A guy like James Van Rukel has really been patiently waiting. A guy that could have did give us reps last year, but really could have been a starter. We just had some really good players last year. So Jaden's looking excellent right now. I'm excited to have him at the free safety position. There's a lot of competition going on there. Tanner DeCock, you can never overlook. He's a two-way guy. He's not the biggest guy, but he's fast and he's tough, and he has a really good head for the ball. On defense, he knows where it's going to be, and he just beats people to the hole. So I'm excited about him on offense and on defense. Jared Cruz is a guy. He's that quiet leader that you just love. He's a guy that never really says anything, but when a big play needs to be made, he makes that big play. So there's a lot of guys that are stepping up right now, and it's fun to see them all kind of fill their role on the team. It's an exciting time.
Absolutely. One key injury I wanted to note, Vincent Ramirez.
Yes.
Probably I know last year the fittest teen in America, I think, was the title that he gained. But coming back into, and I believe during camp last year, went down with an injury. Can you update us on that, or do you have any sort of?
I can. I'll kind of explain it briefly. There was he came back from the CrossFit Games, and it was our second day of practice. We were no contact. We had just helmets on, so we weren't even touching each other. It was kind of a freak accident. He stumbled and he tried to catch himself, and he actually dislocated his hip. And as that dislocated, the ball of the femur came out of the hip socket. It actually fractured.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a unique situation and a unique break for the type of contact we were doing, which was no contact. Even in a full contact game, I've seen one broken hip in 33 years. Oh, wow. So this was the second, and we weren't even hitting. So it was very weird. It really was, and it's too bad. It's sad. He's a senior. He's one of our leaders. He's probably the best defender we have back. So it crushes us. But what do? You reload.
Yep.
You keep him part of the team. You find a role. I told him I want you on the sidelines when you can. For now, we'll put you in the box. I want you to coach up those linebackers. So we want to keep him a big part of the team because he is a big part of the team.
Absolutely. So. And those are the sort of things within high school sports especially, you don't get an opportunity or a second chance at senior year. And so it's sad to lose something like that, but keeping him part of the program and keeping him part of what's going on.
That's important to me and important to the guys too.
Absolutely. So that leads us to week one. Mm-hmm. Pella comes to town.
You bet.
Pella comes in your house.
Yep.
I know last week when you spoke to our group, you made a key of saying last year you were undefeated at home, and really from a 7-3 standpoint, 2 losses to Pella, 1 loss to Solon, which I don't think anybody looking at your schedule would say, those are 2 games you're going to put a star next to, knowing the perennial powerhouse of Pella, knowing Solon always reloads. So the Pella coming into your house week 1, what does that mean for your kids, and what are you guys working on for that week 1 coming up?
It means excitement, a lot of excitement. I try to tell them, guys, we're going to prepare for this game like we do any other game. Even though there's going to be a lot of hype around it and everything else, we're going to prepare to the best of our ability. We're going to go out there and we're trying to put the guys in the right position. And as coaches, we're going to game plan. We're going to learn from mistakes too. We had a really good game plan going into the playoff game. There are definitely some mismatches there and some things that happened throughout the course of the game that we really couldn't control. But no, it's great to go out there and play the back-to-back state champs and have a chance to knock them off. I'm just excited at the opportunity, and I'm glad that football in our area is so good. I think that's awesome, and that's a shout out to Coach McKinstry and his team and his staff, because they've done a great job. And we're up and coming too. We want to have really good football in our area, so I'm excited about that. Great matchup.
Absolutely, a big week 1 coming up. Also, talk a little bit about you talked about Centerville coming to town.
Yeah.
Typically week 0, and we do have 24 games around the state of Iowa on week 0 because of some scheduling conflicts and things. But your typical old shoe scrimmage game is now actually going to be a scrimmage against Centerville. So can you talk a little bit about that and get people to come out this Friday night, the 18th, and get the season kicked off?
That'll start we're actually going to have the freshmen start at 5 o'clock. They're going to start early. The freshmen will kind of do an inter-squad scrimmage, and then it's going to transition into freshman versus JV type of deal, back and forth, because our JV numbers, because they're playing some JV, some varsity. At 7:15, we're officially going to take the field. We're going to probably bring both teams out on the 50, explain the new rules, rule changes and things, points of emphasis for both teams. And then we're going to do the coin toss, and they're going to have either us or them, or they're going to have 15 shots just on offense. So even if we turn the ball over or whatever, we have 15 consecutive plays, and then we're going to flip-flop. Then they'll get 15. And we get 15, then they get 15. So our quarterbacks can both have 15 plays, you know what I mean? And other positions who are really fighting for those spots can have 15 plays. After that, we're going to go to the red zone, and we're going to go back and forth. Either you get stopped or you score. We'll do a little special teams, and then we're going to move into a kicking competition. So Aaron and their kicker is a very good kicker. I think they're two of the best kickers in the state, so I'm very excited about this. And it'll be kind of like a high jump competition where you have two shots instead of 3 to make it. If you make it, you back up. And so we're going to see who actually kicks the longest, and whoever does, we're just going to keep going until they miss. And I will say I've seen Aaron kick a couple of 60s this year in practice already. Okay. So
is that off a tee or from a hold? Or
that's from a hold.
Okay, so that's pretty amazing to have a sophomore kicker coming back. And again, 10 field goals on the season last year. 50-yard, which I believe is an Oskaloosa record.
It was, yeah.
So he set the record for not only field goals in the season, but also the length with the 50-yarder. So an exciting year getting ready to kick off for the Oskaloosa Indians and Jake Jenkins. Jake, we appreciate you taking a little bit of time today. Look forward to coming out on the 18th, the old shoe game. Admission, talk a little bit about that. Gatorade for the coaches and the players.
That's right. Players and coaches. We may take a Gatorade or two from time to time. Sure. But mostly, we do our awards on Monday where we hand out the stickers you'll see on the helmets. Sure. And all the guys always get one for that, and then also one on the road trip we always give out Gatorade. So we really appreciate it.
So cost of admission is a Gatorade there at the what they call the old shoe game. Here coming up the 18th, the freshmen at 5:30, and then the varsity will start their scrimmage with Centerville. The Big Reds come to town here on the 18th of August. I'm Wyndell Campbell, your weekly football update here on Oski News. We'll be coming to you every week, giving you all the scores and the updates from the Oskaloosa Indians, as well as the North Mahaska Warhawks, the Eddyville, Blacksburg, Fremont Rockets. We'll probably catch some other area schools in with that as well. This will be season 2 for us here on Oski News, but thank you for watching in, and catch us every week on the weekly sports update on Oski News. I'm Wyndell Campbell, sponsored by State Farm and InsureOski.com.